Kitty. Damn. Hey guys, Alex Lindblom here from Dive Photo Guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at Inon's new Snoot for their Z-330 and D-200 strobe, after which we'll talk about a way to set up your Snoot that hopefully makes your whole snooting experience underwater a lot less stressful. Okay, so before we get into the specifics of Inon's new Snoot, let's talk a little bit about what exactly snooting is for those of you who don't know. Basically, a Snoot is just a device that you put over the strobe's head to help direct the light onto a single point. Depending on the diameter of the Snoot, you could end up with a light beam that's, this small, or something that's a little bit larger, about the same size as your strobe's head. As you may have guessed, this is generally used for macro photography to achieve black backgrounds or other interesting lighting effects. However, if you are using one of the larger diameter Snoots, it can absolutely be applied to wide-angle photography as well. Here's a few quick macro examples of mine using the Inon Snoot. Alright, so now that we all know about Snoots, let's talk about Inons. Like everything to come out of Inon, there's a really simple, intuitive design in play here. In using the existing threads on either the Z-330 or D-200 strobe, in this case the Z-330, we can simply mount the Snoot by screwing it onto the front like so. And this way we don't need to worry about any bolts or clamps to hold the Snoot in place. Something else to take note is that this rubber hood is actually expandable. This allows us to bring the Snoot closer to the subject without too much faffing about underwater. One of the beautiful things about the Inon Snoot is how easily it accommodates a variety of Snoot diameters. Right now we have the super narrow Snoot tube. This would be best for super macro. If we wanted something slightly larger, all we have to do is unscrew it and mount this slightly larger Snoot tube. If we still want something even larger, basically we just have to start taking apart the Snoot. Each step along the way results in a larger beam diameter, as you can see here. Basically, it's everything you would need in a Snoot. Not to mention, its collapsible design allows you to pack it in your bag really easily. Now there's a lot of different ways in which we can use a Snoot, and I believe the most popular way is to leave the snooted strobe mounted on your housing like this. And while this is the easiest way to carry around your snooted strobe, it does pose a bit of an issue when it comes time to photograph our subject, as we need to align the narrow beam of the light with our intended composition. This method does work great once we have everything in a line. However, if the subject moves or we decide to change our composition, then we need to realign everything and then we're out of air. As you can see, right now I have everything in position. If this blue shark, not typically a macro subject, but for today it is going to be, swims out this way, kitty, down, swims out here, then we need to realign everything again, okay? The same goes if we want to, say we have everything in a line now, we want to move 6 inches back. Our beam no longer is on the subject and we need to reposition it. This issue of constant realignment is why I've MacGyvered this funny looking tool. Give me a second to set it up and I'll show you how it works. All right, we are back, and as you can see, the weight with the ball mount attached to it is actually the DIY tripod for my snooted strobe. The beauty of this little device is that it allows me to position the Snoot as I see fit, giving me the freedom and flexibility to move around while the light source stays continuous. At this point, a few of you are probably wondering how I'm still able to make this strobe fire now that I'm not using the fiber optic sync cable. Well, actually, by using the exposed optical slave here, I'm still able to make this strobe fire using the flash from this strobe here as the trigger. It's essentially the same principle as using a fiber optic sync cable, only now I'm not using a sync cable to transmit the message. A couple things to keep in mind when using this method is this strobe here should be on its lowest power setting so it doesn't affect the exposure on your image. Also, the light from this strobe needs to be able to reach this optical slave here. So the optical slave needs to be on the same side as this strobe. If it's on the opposite side, the light won't reach and the strobe won't fire. Got it? Good. Now here's a quick example of what this looks like set up underwater. Alright guys, that just about does it. For more information about Inon Snoot set for their Z-330 and D-200 strobes, follow the link to the article that accompanies this video in the description below. Alright, thanks guys.